All right, welcome everyone, and thank you for attending the Elmwood Public Domain Players reading of Hamlet. My name is Derek Tarson. I am the founder of the Public Domain Players, which started during the pandemic to keep theater alive on Zoom. And our mission is to read both classic and little-known plays that are in the public domain, both for fun and for the relevance that such plays have today. And we could not fulfill our mission without the support of Elmwood Playhouse in Nyack, a community theater that is in its 77th year of continuous operation. And it's called the Jewel of the Hudson Valley. And if you'd like to find out more about Elmwood Playhouse, please visit elmwoodplayhouse.com to see our upcoming season and other community events. And if you're in a generous mood, please click donate to help programs like this continue. So today's reading is of Hamlet, which is it is generally the first quarto of Hamlet, which is the first one published in 1603. And it's sometimes called the bad quarto because there are some of the speeches which are not as beautiful as what was later published in the second quarto and the first folio. So in order to get around that problem, I have imported some of the speeches that we generally know from the first folio into this reading. But I like the way that the first quarto cuts the script and some of the ways that it rearranges the language so that you get a certain different take on this play, which is very well known. I would just like to start by reading a quotation from Harriet Walter, who is a well-known actress with the Royal Shakespeare Company and had a recurring role on Downton Abbey, who said something about playing Shakespeare that I just loved, which is, Shakespeare has this magical effect that he does teach you, you know? You have to get bigger than you are in the first place to play Shakespeare. You have to grow to reach these characters, to reach the language, to reach the imagery. And because you hear yourself saying certain beautiful, powerful, extraordinary things, you hear your voice saying it, and you know your mind has thought it. It actually expands your sense of yourself. So with that, I would like to introduce our players. And John, let's start with you. If you could just introduce yourself and the character you're playing.
Hello, I am John Carlos Lefkowitz, and I'm playing Hamlet today.
Elinor.
Hi, I'm Ellie Greenway, and I'm playing Ophelia and Guildenstern.
Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm playing Queen Gertrude.
Okay, and Michael.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Patrick Sullivan. I'm reading the role of King Claudius.
Ralph.
Hi, I'm Ralph Bowers, and I will be reading Polonius.
Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean Coffey, and I'm going to be reading a couple of different people. I'm reading Laertes, Rosencrantz, Bernardo, Lucianus, and the English ambassador.
Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob Nicholson, and I will be reading Horatio.
Phil.
Phil Garfinkel. I'll be reading quite a list. Reynaldo, Cornelius, Osric, Marcellus, Player Queen, and the second Gravedigger.
And I, Derek Tarson, will be playing Francisco, Ghost, Player King, Fortinbras, and the Gravedigger. So with that, let us start the reading of Hamlet. Act 1, Scene 1. Enter Bernardo and Francisco, two sentinels. And if you're not on stage, please mute yourself and turn off your camera. Stand, who is that?
'Tis I.
You come most carefully upon your watch.
If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste.
I think I hear them. Stand ho, who's there?
Friends to this ground.
And liegemen to the Dane. Oh, farewell, honest soldier. Who hath relieved you?
Bernardo hath my place. Give you good night.
Hola, Bernardo.
Say, is Horatio there?
A piece of him.
Welcome, Horatio. Welcome, good Marcellus.
What, has this thing appeared again tonight?
Well, I have seen nothing.
Horatio says 'tis but our fantasy and will not let belief take hold of him, touching this dreaded sight twice seen of us. Therefore, I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night, that, if again this apparition come, he may approve our eyes and speak to it.
Tut, 'twill not appear.
Sit down, I pray, and let us once again assail your ears that are so fortified against our story what we 2 nights have seen.
Well, sit we down, and let us hear Bernardo speak of it.
Last night of all, when yon same star that's westward from the pole had made his course to loom that part of heaven where now it burns, the bell, then tolling 1,
Break off your talk. See word comes again.
in the same figure like the king that's dead.
Thou art a scholar, Horatio. Speak to it, Horatio.
Looks it not like the king?
Most like, it harrows me with fear and wonder.
It would be spoke to.
Question it, Horatio.
What art thou that thus usurps the state in which the majesty of buried Denmark did sometimes march? By heaven, I charge thee, speak.
It is offended.
See, it stalks away.
Stay, speak. Speak, by heaven, I charge thee, speak.
'Tis gone and makes no answer.
And now, Horatio, you tremble and look pale. Is this not something more than fantasy? What think you on it?
Afore my God, I might not this believe without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes.
Is it not like the king?
As thou art to thyself. Such was the very armor he had on. When he the ambitious Norway combated, so frowned he once when in an angry parle, he smote the sledded Polacks on the ice. 'Tis strange.
Thus twice before, and jump at this dead hour with martial stalk he passed through our watch.
In what particular thought to work I know not, but in the gross and scope of mine opinion, this bodes some strange eruption to our state.
Good, now sit down and tell me, he that knows, why this same strict and most observant watch so nightly toils the subject of the land, and why such daily cast of brazen cannon and foreign mart for implements of war, why such impress of shipwrights, whose sore task does not divide the Sunday from the week? What might be toward that this sweaty haste doth make the night joint laborer with the day? Who is't that can inform me?
Marry, that can I. At least the whisper goes so. Our late king, whose image even now but appeared to us, who, as you know, was by Fortnas of Norway. Thorto, pricked on by a most emulate pride, dared to the combat in which our valiant Hamlet, for so the side of our known world esteemed him, did slay this Fortinbras, who by sealed compact, well ratified by law and heraldry, did forfeit with his life all of those his land, which he stood seized of by the conqueror, against the which a moiety competent was gagged by our king. Now, sir, young Fortinbras, of unimprovised metal, hot and full, hath in the skirts of Norway here and there, sharked up a list of lawless resolutes for food and diet to some enterprise. That hath a stomach in it, and this, I take it, is the chief head and ground of this our watch. But lo, behold, see where it comes again. I'll cross it through, though it blast me. Stay, illusion. If there be any good thing to be done, that may to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which happily foreknowing may prevent, oh, speak. Or if thou hast extorted in thy life, or hoarded treasure in the womb of earth, for which they say you spirits oft walk in death. Stay and speak. Stop it, Marcellus.
'Tis here.
'Tis here.
Is gone. Oh, we do it wrong being so majestical to offer it the show of violence, for it is as the air invulnerable, and our vain blows malicious mockery.
I was about to speak when the cock crew.
And then it faded like a guilty thing. Upon a fearful summons I have heard. The cock that is trumpet to the morn, doth with his lofty and shrill crowing throat, awake the god of day, and at his sound, whether in earth or air, in sea or fire, extravagant and erring spirit hies to his confines, and of the truth herein, this present object made probation.
It faded on the crowing of the cock. Now some say that ever against that season comes wherein our Savior's birth is celebrated, this bird of dawning singeth all night long. And then, they say, no spirit dare walk abroad, the nights are wholesome. Then no planet strike, no fairy takes, nor witch hath power to charm, so hallowed and so gracious is the time.
So have I heard, and do in part believe it. But see, the sun in russet mantle clad walks o'er the dew of yon high mountain top. Break we our watch up, and by my advice, let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet, for upon my life, this spirit dumb to us will speak to him. Do you consent we shall acquaint him with it, as needful in our love, fitting in our duty?
Let's do it, I pray. And I this morning know where we shall find him most convenient.
Scene 2. Enter Claudius, King of Denmark, Gertrude the Queen, Polonius, his son Laertes.
Though yet of Hamlet, our dear brother's death, the memory be green. Our sometime sister, now our queen, the imperial jointress to this warlike state, have we, as 'twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and dropping eye, with mirth in funeral and with dirge in marriage, in equal scale weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. We have here writ to Norway, uncle of young Fortinbras, who, impotent and bedrid, scarcely hears of this nephew's purpose, and we here dispatch you, good Cornelius, and you, Voltimont, for bearers of this greeting to old Norway. Given to you no further personal power to business with the king more than the scope of these dilated articles allow. Farewell, and let your haste command your duty.
In that and all things will we show our duty.
We doubt it nothing. Heartily farewell. And now, Laertes, what's the news with you? You told us of some suit. What is it, Laertes?
My gracious lord, your favorable license, now that the funeral rites are all performed, I may have leave to go again to France. For though the favor of your grace might stay me, yet something is there whispers in my heart, which makes my mind and spirits bend all for France.
Have you your father's leave? What's his Polonius?
He hath, my lord, wrung from me a forced grant, and I do beseech you, your highness, leave.
Well, with all our heart, Laertes, fare thee well. But now, my cousin Hamlet and my son.
A little more than kin and less than kind.
What means these sad and melancholy moods? For your intent to going to Wittenberg, we hold it most unmeet and inconvenient, being the joy and half heart of your mother. Therefore, let me entreat you to stay in court. All Denmark's hope, our cousin and dearest son.
My lord, 'tis not the sable suit I wear, no, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejected havior of the visage, nor altogether mixed with outward semblance is equal to the sorrow of my heart. Him have I lost, I must of force forgo these but the trappings of the suits of woe.
This shows a loving care in you, son Hamlet. But you must know your father lost a father. That father lost his, and so shall be until the general end. Therefore cease laments. It is a fault of heaven, a fault against the dead, a fault against nature, and in reason's common course most certain. None live on the earth, but he is born to die.
Let not thy mother lose her prayers, Hamlet. Stay here with us, go not to Wittenberg.
I shall in all my best obey you, madam.
Why, 'tis a loving and fair reply. No jocund health the king shall drink today, but the great cannon of the cloud shall tell. The rouse the king shall drink unto Prince Hamlet.
Oh, that this too sullied flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh God. God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie on it. Fie. 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely. That it should come to this, but 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king, that was to this Hyperion to a satyr, so loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth must I remember? Why, she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on. And yet within a month, let me not think on it, frailty thy name is woman, a little month, or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body, like Niobe, all tears. Why she? Oh God. A beast that once discourse of reason would have mourned longer, married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married. Almost wicked speed, to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets? It is not, nor it cannot come to good. But break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
Health to your lordship.
I am glad to see you, Horatio, or I'd much forget myself.
The same, my lord, and your poor servant ever.
Sir, my good friend, I'll change that name with you. And what make you from Wittenberg, Horatio? Marcellus.
My good lord.
I am very glad to see you. Oh, sorry.
I am very glad to see you. And good even, sir. But what is your affair in Elsinore? We'll teach you to drink deep ere you depart.
A truant disposition, good my lord.
Nor shall you make me truster of your own report against yourself. I know you are no truant. But what is your affair in Elsinore?
My good lord, I came to see your father's funeral.
I prithee do not mock me, fellow student. I think it was to see my mother's wedding.
Indeed, my lord, it followed hard upon.
Thrift, Horatio. The funeral baked meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. Would I had met my dearest foe in heaven ere ever I had seen that day, Horatio. Oh, my father. My father. Methinks I see my father.
Where, my lord?
In my mind's eye, Horatio.
I saw him once. He was a gallant king.
He was a man. Take him for all in all, I shall not look upon his like again.
My lord, I think I saw him yesternight.
Saw who?
My lord, the king, your father.
The king, my father?
Season your admiration for a while, with an attentive ear, till I may deliver upon the witness of these gentlemen this marvel to you.
For God's love, let me hear.
2 nights together had these gentlemen, Marcellus and Bernardo, on their watch, in the dead waste in middle of the night. Been thus encountered a figure like your father, armed at point exactly, cap a pie. Appears before them thrice. He walked before their weak and fierce surprised eyes. Within his truncheon's length, whilst they distilled almost to jelly with the act of fear. Stand dumb and speak not to him. This to me. In dreadful secrecy impart they did. And I was with them the 3rd night and kept the watch, where, as they had delivered both in time, form of the thing, each word made true and good. The apparition comes. I knew your father. These hands are not more like.
But where was this?
My lord, upon the platform where we watch.
Did you not speak to it?
My lord, I did, but answer made it none. Yet once methought I was about to speak and lifted up its head. to motion like it as it would speak. But even then the morning cock crew loud, and at the sound it shrunk in haste away and vanished from our sight.
It's very strange.
As I do live, my honored lord, 'tis true. And we did think it writ down in our duty to let you know of it.
Indeed, sirs, but this troubles me. Hold you the watch tonight?
We do, my
You do,
lord.
my lord.
Armed, you say?
Armed,
Armed, my
lord.
lord.
From top to toe?
My lord.
Lord, from head to foot.
Then saw you not his face?
Oh yes, my lord, he wore his beaver up,
How looked he? Frowningly?
a countenance more in sorrow than in anger.
Pale or red?
Nay, very pale,
And fixed his eyes upon you?
most constantly.
I would I had been there.
It would have much amazed you.
Very like. Stayed it long?
While one with moderate haste might tell 100.
Longer, longer.
His beard was grizzled, no?
It was as if it was as I have seen it in his life, a sable silvered.
I will watch tonight. Perchance it will walk again.
I warrant it will.
If it assume my noble father's person, I'll speak to it, though hell itself should gape and bid me hold my peace. I pray you all, if you have hitherto concealed this sight, let it be tenable in your silence still, and whatsoever else shall chance tonight, give it an understanding, but no tongue. I will requite your loves. So fare you well. Upon the platform, twixt 11 and 12, I'll visit you.
Our duty,
Duty
to
to
your
you
honor.
all.
Your loves, as mine to you, farewell. My father's spirit, in arms. All is not well. I doubt some foul play. Would the night were come. Till then, sit still, my soul. Foul deeds will rise, though all the earth o'erwhelm them, to men's eyes.
Scene 3, enter Laertes and Ophelia, his sister.
My necessaries are embarked. I must aboard. But ere I part, mark what I say to thee. I see Prince Hamlet makes a show of love. Beware, Ophelia. Do not trust his vows. Perhaps he loves you now, and now his tongue speaks from his heart. But yet, take heed, my sister. The chariest maid is prodigal enough, if she unmask her beauty to the moon. Virtue itself escapes no calumnious thoughts. Believe it, Ophelia. Therefore keep aloof, lest that he trip thy honor and thy fame.
Brother, to this I have lent an attentive ear, and doubt not but to keep my honor firm. But good my brother, do not come like a cunning sposter. Teach me the path, ready the way to heaven, while you, forgetting what is said to me, yourself, like a careless libertine, doth give his heart his appetite full, and little recks how his honor dies.
Oh, fear it not, my dear Ophelia. Oh, here comes my father. Occasion smiles upon a second leave.
Ah, yet here, Laertes? Aboard, aboard, for shame. The wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for it. There, my blessing with thee, and these few precepts in thy memory. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends thou hast, and their adoption tried, grapple them unto thy soul with hoops of steel, but do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new hatched, unfledged courage. Beware of entrance to a quarrel, but being in, bear it that the opposed may beware of thee. Costly thy habit as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fashion, for the apparel oft proclaims the man, and they in France of the best rank and station are of a most select and generous chief in that. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell, my blessing season this indeed.
I humbly take my leave. Farewell, Ophelia, and remember well what I have said to you.
It is already locked within my heart, and you yourself shall keep the key.
Farewell.
You're muted, Ralph. Here, try now. Okay.
I don't know.
Start with what is it, Ophelia, he had said to you?
What is it, Ophelia, he had said to you?
Something touching the Prince Hamlet.
Marry, well thought on. 'Tis given me to understand that you have been too prodigal of your maiden presence unto Prince Hamlet. If it be so, and so 'tis given me, and that in way of caution, I must tell you, you do not understand yourself so clearly as it behooves my daughter and your honor. What is between you? Give me up the truth.
He hath, my lord, of late made many tenders of his love to me.
Tenders? Aye, tenders you may call them.
And with all such earnest vows.
Springs to catch woodcocks. What, do I not know when the blood doth burn, how prodigal the tongue lends the heart vows? In brief, be more scanter of your maiden presence, or tendering thus, you'll tender me a fool.
I shall obey, my lord, in all I may.
Ophelia, receive none of his letters. A lover's lines are snares to entrap the heart. Refuse his tokens. Both of them are keys to unlock chastity and to desire. Come in, Ophelia. Such men often prove great in their words, but little in their love.
I will, my lord.
Scene 4. Enter Hamlet, Horatio, and Marcellus.
The air bites shrewd.
It is an eager and a nipping wind.
What hour is it?
I think it lacks of 12.
No, it is struck.
Indeed, I heard it not. What doth this mean, my lord?
The king doth wake tonight and takes his rouse, keeps wassail, and the swaggering upspring reels, and as he drains his draughts of Rhenish down, the kettle drum and trumpet thus bray out the triumphs of his pledge.
Is it a custom here?
Aye, marry, is it? And though I am native here and to the manor born, it is a custom more honored in the breach than the observance.
Look, my lord, it comes.
Angels and ministers of grace defend us. Be thou a spirit of health or goblin damned. Bring with the airs from heaven or blasts from hell. Be thy intents wicked or charitable. Thou comest in such a questionable shape that I will speak to thee. I'll call thee Hamlet, king, father, royal Dane. Oh, answer me. Let me not burst in ignorance, but tell why thy canonized bones, hearsed in death, have burst their serments. Why thy sepulchre, wherein we saw thee quietly interred, hath burst his ponderous marble jaws to cast thee up again. What may this mean that thou, dead corse, again in complete steel revisits thus the glimpses of the moon, making night hideous and we fools of nature so horridly to shake our disposition with thoughts beyond the reaches of our souls? Say, speak, wherefore? What may this mean?
It beckons you as though it had something to impart to you alone.
Look with what courteous action it waves you to a more removed ground, but do not go with it.
No, by no means, my lord.
It will not speak. Then I will follow it.
What if it tempt you toward the flood, my lord, or to the dreadful summit of the cliff that beetles o'er his base into the sea, and there assumes some other horrible shape which might deprive you your sovereignty of reason and draw you into madness? Think of it.
Still am I called? Go on, I'll follow thee.
My lord, you shall not go.
Why? What should be the fear? I do not set my life at a pin's fee, and for my soul, what can it do to that, being a thing immortal like itself? Go on, I'll follow thee.
My lord, be ruled. You shall not go.
My fate cries out and makes each petty archer in this body as hardy as the Nemean lion's nerve. Still am I called. Unhand me, gentlemen. By heaven, I'll make a ghost of him that lets me. Away, I say. Go on. I'll follow thee.
He waxes desperate with imagination.
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Have after to what issue will this sort?
Let's follow. 'Tis not fit thus to obey him.
Whither wilt thou lead me? Speak, I'll go no further.
Mark me,
I will.
I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and for the day confined to fast in fires, till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burst and purged away.
Alas, poor ghost.
Nay, pity me not, but to my unfolding lend thy listening ear, but that I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house. I would a tale unfold whose lightest words would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy young blood, make my two eyes like stars start from their spheres, thy knotted and combined locks to part, and each particular hair to stand on end, like quills on the fretful porpentine. But this same blazon must not be to ears of flesh and blood. Hamlet, if ever thou didst thy dear father love,
Oh, God.
revenge his foul and most unnatural murder.
Murder?
Murder most foul as the best it is, but mine most foul, strange, and unnatural.
Haste me to know it, that I, with wings as swift as meditation or the thoughts of love, may sweep to my revenge.
I find thee apt, and duller shouldst thou be than the fat weed that roots itself in ease on Leith wharf. Brief let me be. 'Tis given out that sleeping in my orchard a serpent stung me. So the whole ear of Denmark is by a forged process of my death rankly abused. But know, thou noble youth, he that did sting thy father's heart now wears his crown.
Oh, my prophetic soul, my uncle!
Yea, he, that incestuous wretch, won to his will with gifts that have the power so to seduce the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. But virtue, as it never will be moved, through the lewdness in it in a shape of heaven, so lust, though to a radiant angel linked, will sate itself in a celestial bed and prey on garbage. Oh, but soft, methinks I scent the morning air. Brief let me be, sleeping within my orchard, my custom always of the afternoon. Thy uncle stole with the juice of a habona in a vial, and in the porches of my ears did pour the leprous distilment, whose effect holds such an enmity with the blood of man, that swift as quicksilver it courses through the natural gates and alleys of the body, and turns the thin and wholesome blood like eager droppings into milk. And all my smooth body bark shattered over. Thus was I sleeping by a brother's hand of life, of crown, of queen at once dispatched. No reckoning made, but sent it unto my grave. with all my accounts and sins upon my head. Oh, horrible, horrible, most horrible.
Oh God.
If thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. But howsomever thou pursues this act, let not thy heart contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to heaven, and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge to prick and sting her. Oh, I must be gone. The glowworm shows the matin to be near, and gins to pale his uneffectual fire. Adieu, adieu, adieu. Remember me.
Oh, all you host of heaven. Oh, earth, what else? And shall I couple hell? Remember thee. Yes, thou poor ghost, from the table of my memory, I'll wipe away all saws of books, all trivial fond conceits that ever youth or else observance noted, and thy remembrance alone shall sit within the book and volume of my brain. Yes, yes, by heaven, a damned pernicious villain, murderous, bawdy, smiling, damned villain. My tables, meet it is I set it down that one may smile and be a villain. At least I am sure it may be so in Denmark. So, uncle, there you are. Now to my word. It is adieu, adieu, remember me. I have sworn it.
My lord, my lord,
Lord Hamlet,
heaven secure him.
So be it.
hello, ho, ho, my lord.
Hilly ho ho, boy, come. Bird, come.
How is't, my noble lord?
What news, my lord?
Oh, wonderful.
Good, my lord, tell it.
No, you will reveal it.
Not I, my lord, by heaven.
Nor I, my lord.
How say you then? Would heart of man once think it? But you'll be secret?
Aye,
By
by heaven,
my lord.
There's never a villain dwelling in all Denmark, but he's an errant knave.
There needs no ghost, my lord, come from the grave to tell us this.
Why, right, you are in the right. And so, without more circumstance at all, I hold it fit that we shake hands and part. You, as your business and desire shall point you, for every man hath business and desire, such as it is. And for my own poor part, I will go pray.
These are but wild and whirling words, my lord.
I'm sorry they offend you. Heartily, yes, faith, heartily.
There's no offense, my lord.
Yes, by Saint Patrick, but there is, Horatio, and much offense too. Touching this vision here, it is an honest ghost. That let me tell you. For your desire to know what it is between us, or master it as you may. And now, good friends, as you are friends, scholars and soldiers, give me one poor request.
What is it, my lord? We will.
Never make known what you have seen tonight.
My lord,
Lord,
we will not.
Nay, but swear it.
in faith, my lord, not I.
Nor I, my lord, in faith.
Upon my sword.
We have sworn, my lord, already.
Swear!
Ha, ha, ha. Boy, sayst thou so? Art thou there, true penny? Come on, you hear this fellow in the cellarage. Consent to swear.
Propose the oath, my lord.
Never to speak of this that you have seen. Swear by my sword.
Swear!
It get to be quay? Then we'll shift our ground. Come hither, gentlemen, and lay your hands again upon my sword. Swear by my sword, never to speak of this that you have heard.
Swear by his sword.
Well said, old mole. Canst work the earth so fast? A worthy pioneer. Once more remove, good friends.
O day and night, but this is wondrous strange.
And therefore, as a stranger, give it welcome. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. But come, here as before, never, so help you mercy, how strange or odd some'er I bear myself, as I perchance hereafter shall think meet to put an antic disposition on, that you, at such times seeing me, never shall, with arms encumbered thus, or with this head shake, or by pronouncing of some doubtful phrase as, well, we know, or we could, and if we would, or if we list to speak, or there be an if they might, or such ambiguous giving out, to note that you know aught of me. This do swear, so grace and mercy at your most need help you.
Swear.
Rest, perturbed spirit. So, gentlemen, with all my love I do commend me to you. And what so poor a man as Hamlet may to pleasure you, God willing, shall not want. Nay, come, let's go together. But still, your fingers on your lips, I pray. The time is out of joint. Oh, cursed spite that I was ever born to set it right. Nay, come, let's go together.
Act 2, Scene 1. Entered old Polonius with his man Reynaldo.
Give him this money and these notes, Rinaldo.
I will, my lord.
You shall do marvelous wisely, Rinaldo, to say thus, take you as for some distant knowledge of him, and thus, I know his father and his friends, and in part him. Do you mark this, Rinaldo?
Aye, very well, my lord.
And in part him, but you may say not well. You may say, you saw him at such a time, mark you me, at game or drinking, fencing, swearing, quarreling, grabbing. You may go so far.
My lord, that impeach his reputation?
Faith, not a whit, no, not a whit. Now, happily he closes with you in this consequence, as you may bridle it, not disparage him in iota. What was I about to say?
He closes with him in the consequence.
You say right. He closes with him thus. This he will say. Let me see what he will say. Marry this. I saw him yesterday, or the other day, or then at such a time, dicing or at tennis, or drinking drunk, or I saw him enter such a house of sale, the Delicate, a brothel, or so forth. See you now, your bait of falsehood take this cup of truth, and thus we of wisdom and of reach by indirections find directions out. And so shall you, my son. You have me, have you not?
My lord, I have.
Well, very well. Commend me to him.
I will, my lord.
And bid him ply his music.
My lord, I will.
Farewell. How now, Ophelia? What is the news with you?
Oh, dear fathers, there's such a change in nature, so great an alteration to the prince, so pitiful to him, to fearful to me, a maiden's I ne'er looked on.
Why, what's the matter, my Ophelia?
Oh, young Prince Hamlet, the only flower of Denmark, he is bereft with all the wealth he had, the jewels adorned his featured most, is flinched and stolen away, his wits bereft him. He found me walking in the gallery all alone. There comes he to me with a distracted look, his garters lagging down, his shoes untied, his fixed eyes so steadfast to my face, as if they had vowed this to their latest object. Small while he stood, but grips me by the wrist, and there holds my pulse till with a sigh he doth unclasp his hold and parts away. Silent as for the mid-time night, and as he went his eyes were still on me, for thus his head over shoulder looked, he seemed to find a way without his eyes, and out o'er the doors he went with their help, and bended down the light on me.
Mad for thy love, what? Have you given him any cross words of late?
No, my good lord, but as you command, I did repel his letters and denied his access to me.
That hath made him mad. By heaven, it is as proper to our age to cast beyond ourselves in our opinions as it is common for the younger sort to lack discretion. Well, I am sorry that I was so rash, but what remedy? Come, we go to the king. This madness may prove, though wild a while, yet more true to thy love. Come.
Scene 2. Enter King, Queen, Rosencrantz, and Guildenstern.
Welcome, dear Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. That our dear cousin Hamlet hath lost the very heart of all his senses, it is most right, and we most sorry for him. Therefore, we do desire, even as you tender our care to him and our great love to you, that you will labor but to wring from him the cause and grounds of his distemperancy. Do this, the King of Denmark shall be thankful.
Both, your majesties. Whatsoever lies within our power, your majesty may more command in words than use persuasions to your liegemen, bound by love, by duty, and obedience.
What we may do for both your majesties to know the grief that troubles the prince your son, we will endeavor all the best we may. So in all duty, we take our leave.
Thanks, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Thanks, Guildenstern and gentle Rosencrantz.
Enter Polonius and Ophelia.
The ambassadors from Norway, my good lord, are joyfully returned.
Thou still hast been the father of good news.
Have I, my lord? I assure my good liege, I hold my duty as I hold my soul, both to my God and to my sovereign king. And I believe, or else this brain of mine hunts not the trail of policy so sure as it hath used to do, that I have found the very cause of Hamlet's lunacy.
Speak of that I do long to hear.
Give first admittance to the ambassadors. My news shall be the fruit to that great feast.
Thyself do grace to them and bring them in.
Grant he hath.
Well, we shall sift him. Voltimont, what from our brother from Norway?
Most fair return of greetings and desires. Upon our first he sent out to suppress his nephew's levies, which to him appeared to be a preparation against the Polacks. But, better looked into, he truly found it was against your highness, whereat grieved that so his sickness, age, and impotence was falsely borne in hand, sends out arrest on Fortinbras, which he in brief obeyed, receives rebuke from Norway, and in fine, makes vow before his uncle never more to give the assay of arms to your majesty, whereon old Norway, overcome with joy, gives him 70,000 crowns an annual fee, and his commission to employ these soldiers, so levied as before against the Polacks with an entreaty, herein further shown, that it may please you to give quiet pass through your dominions for this enterprise, on such regards of safety and allowance, all as therein are set down.
It likes us well, and at our more considered time we'll read, answer, and think upon this business. Meantime, we thank you for your well-took labor. Go to your rest. At night, we'll feast together. Most welcome.
This business is well dispatched. Therefore, since brevity is the soul of wit, and tediousness the limbs and outward flourishes, I will be brief. Your noble son is mad. Mad call I it, for to define true madness, what is it but to be nothing else but mad? But let that go.
More matter with less art.
Madam, I swear I use no art at all. That he's mad, 'tis true, 'tis pity. Mad, let us grant him then. And now remains that we will find out the cause of this effect, or rather say the cause of this defect, for this effect defective comes by cause.
Good my lord, be brief.
Madam, I will. My lord, I have a daughter, and while she is mine, for that we think is surest we often lose, my lord, but note this letter to which my daughter in obedience delivered to my hands. Now gather and surmise. To the celestial and my soul's idol, the most beautified Ophelia.
Came this from Hamlet to her?
But madam, stay a while, I will be faithful. Doubt thou the stars are afire? Doubt that the sun doth move? Doubt truth to be a liar? To my beautiful, but never doubt, I love. To my beautiful Ophelia, mine evermore, most dear lady, while this machine is to him Hamlet. This in obedience hath my daughter shown me, and more above hath his solicitings, as they fell out by time, by means and place, all given to mine ear.
But how hath she received his love?
What do you think of me?
As of a man faithful and honorable?
I would fain prove so, but what might you think? Now, when I saw this letter, thus I bespake my maiden. Lord Hamlet is a prince out of thy star, and one that is unequal for our love. Therefore, I did command her refuse his letters, admit no messengers, receive no tokens, which done, she took the fruits of my advice, and he, repelled a short tale to make, fell into a sadness, and then into a fast, thence into distraction, and by this declension into the madness wherein now he raves, and we all mourn for.
Do you think 'tis this?
It may be, very like.
Hath there been such a time? I would fain know that I have positively said 'tis so, when it proved otherwise.
That I know.
Nay, if circumstances lead me on, I will find where the truth is hid, though it were hid indeed within the center.
How may we try it further?
You know, sometimes he walks for 4 hours together here in the lobby.
So he does indeed.
There, let Ophelia walk until he comes. Be you and I behind an arras then. Mark the encounter. If he loves her not, and be not his reason fallen thereon, let me be no assistant for a state, but keep a farm and carters.
We will try it.
But look, where sadly the poor wretch comes reading.
Madam, will it please your grace to leave us here?
With all my heart.
And here, Ophelia, read you on this book, and walk aloof. The king shall be unseen.
King and Polonius hide behind the arras. Hamlet, in his distraction, does not see Ophelia.
Be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep, no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to the consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear, to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied over with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pitch and moment with this regard their currents turn awry and lose the name of action. Soft you now, the fair Ophelia. Nymph, in my arisons, be all my sins remembered.
My lord, I have sought opportunity, which now I have to redeliver your worthy hands, the small remembrance of yours and such tokens which I have received of you.
Are you fair?
My lord?
Are you honest?
What means your lordship?
That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty.
Could beauty, my lord, have a better commerce than honesty?
Yea, marry, may it, for beauty may transform honesty from what she was into a bawd. Then the force of honesty can translate beauty into his likeness. This was sometime a paradox, but now the time gives it scope. I gave you nothing.
My honored lord, you know right well you did, and when the words were so sweet breath composed as have moved to the stoniest breast alive. But no true, I find, rich gifts wax poor, when givers grow unkind.
I never loved you.
You made me believe you did.
You should not have believed me. Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent, honest, but yet I could accuse me of such crimes that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offenses at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do crawling between earth and heaven? We are errant knaves all, believe none of us. Go thy ways to a nunnery.
Oh, heavens secure him.
Where's your father?
At home, my lord.
For God's sake, let the doors be shut upon him. He may play the fool nowhere but in his own house. To a nunnery, go.
Alas, what change is this?
If thou dost marry, I'll give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow, thou shalt not escape calumny. To a nunnery, go.
Alas, what change is this?
But if thou wilt needs marry, marry a fool. For wise men know well enough that what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery, go.
Pray God restore him.
Nay, I have heard of your paintings too. God hath given you one face, and you make yourselves another. You jig and you amble, and you nickname God's creatures, making your wantonness your ignorance. A pox, 'tis scurvy. I'll no more on it. It hath made me mad. I'll no more marriages. All that are married already, all but one, shall live. The rest shall keep as they are. To a nunnery, go.
Yeah, 6.
Great God in heaven, what change is this? The courtier, scholar, soldier, all in him, all dashed and splintered thence. Woe is me, to have seen him as I have seen, to see what I see.
Love? No, that's not the cause. Some deeper thing is this that troubles him.
Well, something it is, my lord. Content you a while. I will myself go feel him. Let me work. I'll try him every way, see where he comes. Send you those gentlemen. Let me alone to find the depth of this. Away, be gone. Now, my good lord, do you know me?
Yeah, very well. You are a fishmonger.
Not I, my lord.
Then I would you were so honest a man. For to be honest, as this world goes, is one man to be picked out of 10,000.
What do you read, my lord?
Words, words, words.
What is the matter, my lord?
Between who?
I mean the matter that you read, my lord.
Marry, most vile heresy. For here, the satirical rogue writes that old men have hollow eyes, weak backs, gray beards, pitiful weak hams, gouty legs, all which, sir, though I most powerfully and potently believe, yet I hold it not honesty to have it thus set down. For yourself, sir, shall grow old as I am, if, like a crab, you could go backwards.
Though this be madness, yet there is method in it. Yet at first he took me for a fishmonger. All this comes by love, the vehemency of love. And when I was young, I was very idle and suffered much ecstasy in love. Very near this. Would you walk out of the air, my lord?
Into my grave?
Indeed, that's out of the air. Very shrewd answers. My lord, I will take my leave of you.
You cannot, sir, take from me anything that I will more willingly part with all. Except my life. Except my
Very
life.
well, my lord.
Except my life. These tedious old fools.
You go to seek the Lord Hamlet, there he is.
God save you, sir.
My honored lord.
My most dear lord.
My excellent good friends. How dost thou, Guildenstern? Ah, Rosencrantz. Welcome, kind schoolfellows, to Elsinore.
We thank your grace. Would be very glad you were as you were at Wittenberg.
I thank you. But is this visitation free of yourselves, or were you not sent for? Tell me true. Come, I know the good king and queen sent for you. There is a kind of confession in your eye. Come, I know you were sent for.
To what end, my lord?
That you must teach me. But let me conjure you by the rights of our fellowship, by the consonancy of our youth, by the obligation of our ever-preserved love, and by what more dear a better proposer can charge you withal. Be even and direct with me, whether you were sent for or no.
My lord, we were, and willingly, if we might know the cause and ground of your discontent.
Why, I want preferment.
I think not so, my lord.
Yes, faith, this great world you see contents me not. This earth seems to me a sterile promontory. This most excellent canopy, the air. Look you, this brave o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof, fretted with golden fire. Why, it appeareth nothing to me but a foul and pestilent congregation of vapors. What a piece of work is a man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculties, in form and moving, how express and admirable. In action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals. And yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights not me, no. Nor women, neither, though you laugh.
Oh, my lord, we laugh not at that.
Why did you laugh, then, when I said man delights me not?
To think, my lord, if you delight not in man, what Lenten entertainment the players shall receive from you. We coted them on the way, and hither are they coming to offer you service.
Players? What players are they?
or even those you were wont to take such delight in, the tragedians of the city?
How comes it that they travel? Do they grow rusty?
No, my lord, their reputation holds as it wants.
How then?
In faith, my lord, novelty carries it away. For the principal public audience that came to them are turned to private plays and to the humor of children.
I do not greatly wonder of it. For those that would make mops and mows at my uncle, when my father lived, now give 100, 200 pounds for his picture in little. But they shall be welcome. He that plays the king shall have tribute of me. The venturous knight shall use his foil and target. The lover shall sigh gratis. The clown shall make them laugh that are tickled in the lungs, or the blank verse shall halt for it. And the lady shall have her leave to speak her mind freely.
A flourish
Where
for
are the players?
Gentlemen, you are welcome to Elsinore. Your hands, come then, but my uncle father and aunt mother are deceived.
In what, my dear lord?
I am but mad northwest. When the wind is southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw.
Well be with you, gentlemen.
Do you see yonder great baby? He is not yet out of his swaddling clothes.
That may be, for they say an old man is twice a child.
I will prophesy he comes to tell me of the players. Mark it. You say right, sir. A Monday morning, 'twas then indeed.
My lord, I have news to tell you.
My lord, I have news to tell you. When Roscius was an actor in Rome,
The actors are come hither, my lord.
buzz, buzz.
The best actors in Christendom, either for tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral, pastoral comical, historical pastoral, tragical historical, tragical comical, historical pastoral, scene individual, or poem unlimited. Seneca cannot be too heavy, nor Plautus too light. The law hath writ, these are the only men.
Oh, Jephthah, judge of Israel, what a treasure hadst thou.
What a treasure had he, my lord?
Why, one fair daughter and no more, the which he loved passing well.
Still on my daughter. If you call me Jephthah, my lord, I have a daughter that I love passing well.
Nay, that follows not.
What follows then, my lord?
Why, as by lot, God wot. And then, it came to pass, as most like it was. The first row of the godly ballet will tell you more, for look where my abridgment comes. You are welcome, masters. Welcome all. What, my old friend, why thy face is valanced since I saw thee last? Comest thou to beard me in Denmark? What, my young lady and mistress? By our lady, your ladyship is nearer to heaven than when I saw you last by the altitude of Chopin. Pray God your voice, like a piece of uncurrent gold, be not cracked in the ring. Masters, you are all welcome. Well, eaten to it like French falconers, fly at anything we see. We'll have a speech straight. Come, give us a taste of your quality. Come, a passionate speech.
What speech, my good lord?
I heard thee speak me a speech once, but it was never acted, or if it was, not above once. For the play I remember pleased not the vulgar, it was caviar to the million. But to me and others that received it in the like kind, cried in the top of their judgments, an excellent play, set down with as such modesty as cunning. Once said there were no saliets in the lines to make the matter savory, but called it an honest method, as wholesome as sweet. Come, a speech in it I chiefly remember was Aeneas's tale to Dido, and thereabout of it, especially when he speaks of Priam's slaughter. If it live in your memory, begin at this line. Let me see. The rugged Pyrrhus, like the Hyrcanian beast, it's not so. It begins with Pyrrhus, the rugged Pyrrhus, he whose sable arms, black as his purpose, did the knight resemble when he lay couched in the ominous horse, hath now this dread and black complexion smeared with heraldry more dismal. Head to foot, now is he total guise, horridly tricked, with blood of fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, baked and impasted, and coagulate gore, roasted in wrath and fire, old grandsire Priam seeks. So proceed you.
For God, my lord, well spoken, and with good accent.
Anon he finds him, striking too short at Greeks. His antique sword, rebellious to his arm, lies where it falls, repugnant to command. Unequal matched, Pyrrhus at Priam drives, in rage strikes wide, but with the whiff and wind of his full sword, the unnerved father falls.
This is too long.
It shall to the barbers with your beard. A pox, he's for a jig, or a tale of bawdry, or he sleeps. Say on, come to Hecuba.
But who, our woe, has seen the moblet queen?
Oh, that's good. Mobile queen is good.
All in the alarm of fear of death rose up about her lank and all o'er-teamed loins. A blanket and a kerchief on her head where late that diadem stood. Who this had seen with tongue and venom steeped against fortune's state would treason have pronounced. For if the gods themselves had seen her then when she saw Pyrrhus make malicious sport in mincing with his sword her husband's limbs, it would have made milk the burning eyes of heaven and passion in the gods.
Look where he has not turned his color and has tears in his eyes. No more, good heart, no more.
As well. I'll have thee speak out the rest of this soon. I pray, my lord, will you see the players well bestowed? I tell you they are the chroniclers and brief abstracts of the time. After your death, you were better have a bad epitaph than their ill report while you live.
My lord, I will use them according to their desert.
Oh, far better, man. Use every man after his desert, and who shall scape whipping? Use them after your own honor and dignity. The less they deserve, the greater credit's yours.
Come, sirs.
Follow him, friends. We'll hear a play tomorrow. Dost thou hear me, old friend? Can you play The Murder of Gonzago?
Oh, aye, my lord.
We'll have tomorrow night. And couldst not thou, for a need, study a speech of some 12 or 16 lines, which I would set down and insert?
Oh, yea, very easily, my good lord.
'Tis well, I thank you. Follow that, lord. And do you hear, sirs? Take heed you mock him not. My good friends, I'll leave you till night. You are welcome to Elsinore.
Good, my lord.
Aye. So goodbye to you. Oh, I am alone. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I. Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his own conceit that from her working all his visage wand, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suiting with forms to his conceit, and all for nothing. For Hecuba, what's Hecuba to him, or he to Hecuba, that he should weep for her? What would he do, had he the motive and the cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage with tears and cleave the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty and appall the free, confound the ignorant and amaze indeed the very faculties of eyes and ears. Yet I, a dull and muddy metal rascal, peak like John a Dreams, unpregnant of my cause, having my father murdered by a villain, stand still and let it pass. Why, sure I am a coward. Who calls me villain, breaks my pate across, plucks off my beard and blows it in my face, tweaks me by the nose, gives me the lithe in the throat as deep as to the lungs? Who does me this? Ah, swoons, I should take it. For it cannot be, but I am pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression bitter. Or ere this, I should have fatted all the region kites with the slave's offal. Bloody, bawdy villain. Remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindless villain. Oh, vengeance! Why, what an ass am I? This is most brave, that I, the son of a dear father murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, must like a whore unpack my heart with words and fall a cursing like a very drab, a stallion, fie upon it, foe, about my brains. I have heard that guilty creatures sitting at a play have, by the very cunning of the scene, been struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions. For murder, though it have no tongue, will speak with most miraculous organ. I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks. I'll tempt him to the quick. If he do blench, I know my course. The spirit that I have seen may be a devil. The devil have power to assume a pleasing shape, yea. And perhaps out of my weakness and my melancholy, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I'll have grounds more relative than this. The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
Act 3. Enter King, Queen, Polonius, Ophelia, Rosencrantz, and Guildenstern.
And can you by no drift of conference find the cause of our son Hamlet's lunacy? You being so near in love, even from his youth, methinks should gain more than a stranger should.
My lord, we have done all the best we could to wring from him the cause of all his grief, but still he puts us off, and by no means would make an answer to that we exposed.
Yet he was something more inclined to mirth before we left him, and I take it he hath given order for a play tonight, which he craves your highness's company.
With all our heart, it likes us very well. Gentlemen, seek still to increase his mirth. Spare for no cost, no coffer shall be open. Our coffers be wide open to thee, and we unto yourselves will still be thankful.
We shall, my lord.
Thanks, gentlemen, and what the Queen of Denmark may pleasure you, be sure you shall not want.
Well, once again on to the noble prince.
Sweet Gertrude, you'll see this play.
My lord, I will, and it joys me at the soul he is inclined to any kind of mirth.
Madam, I pray be ruled by me, and my good sovereign, give me leave to speak. We cannot yet find out the very ground of his distemperance. Therefore I hold it meet, if it so it please you, else they shall not meet, and thus it is.
What is Polonius?
Marry, my good lord, this when the sports are done, madam, send you in haste to speak with him, and I myself will stand behind the arras. There question you the cause of all his grief, and then in love and nature unto you, he'll tell you all. My lord, how think you on it?
Likes us well. Gertrude, what say you?
With all my heart, soon will I send for him.
Myself will be that happy messenger, who hopes his grief will be revealed to her.
Scene 2. Enter Hamlet and 3 of the players.
Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you, trippingly on the tongue. But if you mouth it, as many of our players do, I had as lief the town crier spoke my lines. Nor do not saw the air too much with your hand thus, but give everything his action with temperance. Oh, it offends me to the soul to hear a robustious, periwig-pated fellow tear a passion to tatters, to very rags, to split the ears of the groundlings, who for the most part are capable of nothing but dumb shows and noises. I would have such a fellow whipped for overdoing. Termagant, it out-Herods Herod.
My lord, we have indifferently reformed that among us.
The better. the better. Mend it all together. Oh, there be players that I have seen play and heard others commend them, and that highly too, that having neither the gait of Christian, pagan, nor Turk, have so strutted and bellowed that you would have thought some of nature's journeymen had made men, and not made them well. They imitated humanity so abominably. Take heed, avoid it.
I warrant you, my lord.
And, do you hear, let not those that play your clowns speak no more than is set down for them. For there be of them that will themselves laugh, to set on some quantity of barren spectators to laugh too. But when the meantime some necessary point in the play be then to be observed, which is vile and shows a most pitiful ambition in the fool that uses it. Go, make you ready. Oh, what ho, Horatio?
Here, sweet lord, at your service.
Horatio, thou art e'en as just a man as ever my conversation coped withal.
Oh, my dear lord.
Nay, do not think I flatter. For what advancement may I hope from thee, that no revenue hast but thy good spirits to feed and clothe thee? Why should the poor be flattered? Let flattery sit on those time-pleasing tongues, to gloze with them that loves to hear their praise, and not with such as thou, Horatio. There is a play tonight before the king. One scene of it comes near the circumstance which I have told thee of my father's death. I prithee, when thou seest that act afoot, mark thou the king. Do but observe my uncle. For I, mine eyes will rivet to his face, and if he do not blanch and change at that, it is a damned ghost that we have seen. Horatio, have a care. Observe him well.
My lord, mine eyes shall still be on his face, and not the smallest alteration that shall appear in him, but I shall note it.
Sound a flourish.
They are coming to the play. I must be idle. Get you a place.
Enter King, Queen, Polonius, Ophelia, Rosencrantz, Guildenstern, and other lords with the king's guard carrying torches.
How fares our cousin Hamlet? Shall we have a play?
Faith, the chameleon's dish, not capon crammed, played once the university, you said? A feed of the air. Ooh. My lord, you played once at the university, you say?
That did I, my lord, and was accounted a good actor.
What did you enact?
I did enact Julius Caesar. I was killed in the Capitol. Brutus killed me.
It was a brute part of him to kill so capital a calf there. Be the players ready?
Aye, my lord. They stay upon your patience.
Come hither, my dear Hamlet, sit by me.
No, good mother. Here's metal more attractive.
Hamlet takes a place near Ophelia. Polonius.
I'm sorry. Oh, do you mark that?
Lady, shall I lie in your lap?
No, my lord.
I mean, my head upon your lap.
Aye, my lord.
Do you think I meant country matters?
I think nothing, my lord.
Trumpets sounds, a dumb show follows. Enter a king and queen very lovingly, the queen embracing him and he her. She kneels and makes show of protestation unto him. He takes her up and declines his head upon her neck. She lies him down upon a bank of flowers. She, seeing him asleep, leaves him. Anon comes in another man, takes off his crown, kisses it, pours poison into the sleeper's ear, and leaves him. The queen returns, finds the king dead, makes passionate action. The poisoner with some 3 or 4 come in again, seem to condole with her. The dead body is carried away. The poisoner woos the queens with gifts. She seems harsh a while, but in the end accepts his love. The players exit.
What means this, my lord?
Mary, this is Meeching Maleko. It means mischief.
What doth it mean? What doth this mean, my lord?
You shall hear anon. This fellow will tell you all.
What will he tell us this, what this show means?
Aye, or any show you'll show. Be not afeard to show. They'll not be afeard to tell.
You are,
Players cannot keep counsel. They'll tell all.
you are not. You are not. I'll mark the play.
For us and for our tragedy, here stooping to your clemency, we beg your hearing patiently.
Is this a prologue or the posy of a ring?
'Tis brief, my lord.
As woman's love.
Enter the play of King and Queen. Full 40 years are past, their date is gone, since love our hearts and hymen did our hands, unite commutual in most sacred bands. And now the blood that filled our youthful veins runs weakly in their pipes, and all the strains of music, which whilome pleased mine ear, is now a burden that age cannot bear. And therefore sweet nature must pay his due, to heaven must I, and leave the earth with you. You're muted.
Pardon. If not, say not so, lest that you kill my heart. When death takes you, let life from me depart.
Content thyself. When ended is my date, thou mayest perchance have a more noble mate, more wise, more youthful, and one.
Oh, speak no more, for then I am accursed. None weds the second, but she kills the first. A second time I kill my lord that's dead, when second husband kisses me in bed.
That's wormwood.
I do believe you think what now you speak, but what we do determined oft we break. For our devices still are overthrown, our thoughts are ours, their ends none of our own. So think thou will no second husband wed, but die thy though when thy first lord is dead.
Both here and hence pursue my lasting strife, if, once a widow, I ever be a wife.
She should break it now.
'Tis deeply sworn, sweet, leave me here a while. My spirits go dull, and fain I would beguile the tedious day with sleep.
Sleep rock thy brain, and never come mischance between us twain.
Madam, how like you this play?
The lady doth protest too much, methinks.
Oh, but she'll keep her word.
Have you heard the argument? Is there no offense in it?
No, they do but jest. Poison in jest. No offense of the world.
What do you call the play?
The Mousetrap. Mary. How? Tropically. This play is the image of a murder done in Vienna. Gonzago is the duke's name, his wife Baptista. You shall see, anon. 'Tis a knavish piece of work. But what of that? It toucheth not us. You and I that have free souls. Let the galled jade wince. This is one Lucianus, nephew to the king.
You're as good as a chorus, my lord.
I could interpret between you and your love, if I could see the puppets dallying.
You are very pleasant, my lord.
Who, I? Your only jig maker? Why, what should a man do but be merry? For look how cheerfully my mother looks. My father died within these 2 hours.
Nay, 'tis 2 months, my lord.
2 months? Nay, then let the devil wear black, for I'll have a suit of sables. Jesus, 2 months dead, and not forgotten yet? Nay, then there's some likelihood a gentleman's memory may outlive his life half a year. But by my faith, he must build churches then, or else he must follow the old epitaph, for oh, the hobby horse is forgot.
Your jests are keen, my lord.
It would cost you a groaning to take them off.
Still better and worse.
So you mistake your husband. Begin, murderer, pox sleeve thy damnable faces and begin. Come, the croaking raven doth bellow for revenge.
Thoughts black, hands apt, drugs fit, and time agreeing. Confederate season, else no creature seeing. The mixture rank of midnight weeds collected, with Hecate's ban thrice blasted, thrice infected. Thy natural magic and dire property of wholesome life usurp immediately.
What's the poison in his ear?
Poisons him in the garden for his estate. His name's Gonzago. The story is sextant and written in very choice Italian. You shall see anon how the murderer gets the love of Gonzago's wife.
The king rises.
What? Frighted with false fire?
How fares my lord?
Give o'er the play.
Give me some light. Away.
Lights, lights, lights.
All but Hamlet and Horatio exit.
Aye. Let the strucken deer go weep, the heart unguarded play, for some must laugh, while some must weep. Thus runs the world away.
The king is moved, my lord.
Oh, good Horatio, I'll take the ghost's word for more than all the coin in Denmark.
Now, my lord, how is it with you?
And if the king like not the tragedy, why then belike he likes it not, Bertie.
We are very glad to see your grace so pleasant, my good lord. Let us again entreat to know of you the ground and cause of your distemperature.
My lord, your mother craves to speak with you.
We shall obey, were she 10 times our mother. Have you any further trade with us?
My lord, you once did love me.
Enter the players with recorders. That's Rosencrantz's line.
Oh, that's me too. Oh, okay. Oh, the recorders. Let me see one. Will you play upon this pipe?
Last, my lord, I cannot.
Pray, will you?
I have no skill, my lord.
Why, look, it is a thing of nothing. 'Tis by stopping of these holds, and with a little breath from your lips, it will give most delicate music.
But this we can do, my lord? Cannot do, my lord.
Why, how unworthy a thing you would make of me. You would seem to know my stops, you would play upon me, you would search the very inward part of my heart, and dive into the secret of my soul. Zoons! Do you think I am easier to be played on than a pipe? Call me what instrument you will, though you can fret me, you cannot play upon me. Besides, to be demanded by a sponge.
How a sponge, my lord?
I, sir, a sponge that soaks up the king's countenance, favors and rewards, that makes his liberality your storehouse. But such as you do the king in the end best service, for he doth keep you as an ape doth nuts in the corner of his jaw, first mouths you, then swallows you, so when he hath need of you, 'tis but squeezing of you, and sponge, you shall be dry again, you shall.
Well, my lord, we'll take our leave.
Farewell, farewell, God bless you.
My lord, the queen would speak with you, and presently.
Do you see yonder cloud that's almost in shape of a camel?
By the mass, and 'tis like a camel indeed.
Methinks it is like a weasel.
It is back like a weasel,
Or like a whale.
very like a whale.
Why then, tell my mother I will come by and by. Good night, Horatio.
Good night unto your lordship.
My mother, she hath sent to speak with me. O God, let ne'er the heart of Nero enter this soft bosom. Let me be cruel, not unnatural. I will speak daggers to her, but use none. Those sharp words being spent, to do her wrong, my soul shall never consent.
Scene 3, enter the king.
Oh, my offense is rank. Smells to heaven. It hath the primal elders cursed upon it. A brother's murder. Pray I cannot, though inclination be as sharp as will. My stronger guilt defeats my strong intent. Like a man to double business bound, I stand in pause where I shall first begin the both neglect. What if this cursed hand were thicker than itself with brother's blood? Is there not rain enough in the sweet heavens to wash it white as snow? Or what form of prayer can serve my turn? Forgive me, foul murder. That cannot be, since I am still possessed of those effects for which I did the murder. My crown, my own ambition, and my queen. May one be pardoned and retain offense? In the corrupted currents of this world, but 'tis not so above. What then? What rests? Try what repentance can. What can it not? Yet what can it when one cannot repent? Our wretched state. A bosom black as death. A limed soul that's struggling to be free art more engaged. Help, angels. Make a say. Oh, stubborn knees and heart with strings of steel be soft as sinews of the newborn babe. All may be well.
Now might I do it. Now he is a praying. And now I'll do it. And so he goes to heaven, and so am I revenged. That would be scanned. A villain kills my father, and for that I, his sole son, do this same villain send to heaven. Why, this is hire and salary, not revenge. He took my father grossly, full of bread, with all his crimes broad blown, as flush as May. And how his audit stands, who knows save heaven? But in our circumstance and course of thought, 'tis heavy with him. And am I then revenged to take him in the purging of his soul when he is fit and seasoned for his passage? No. Up, sword, and know thou a more horrid hint. When he is drunk asleep, or in his rage, or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed, at game, a swearing, or about some act that has no relish of salvation in it, then trip him, that his heels may kick at heaven, and that his soul may be as damned and black as hell wherever it goes. Whereto it goes. My mother stays. This physic but prolongs thy sickly days.
My words fly up, my thoughts remain below. Words without thoughts never to heaven go.
Scene 4, enter the Queen and Polonius.
He will come straight. Look, you may lay home to him. Tell him his pranks have been too broad to bear with, and that your grace has screened and stood between much heat and him. I'll silence me even here. Pray you be round with him.
Mother, mother, mother.
I'll warrant you, fear me not. Withdraw, I hear him coming.
Polonius hides behind the arras. Enter Hamlet.
Now, mother, how is it with you?
How is't with you?
I'll tell you, but first we'll make all safe.
Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended.
Mother, you have my father much offended.
Why, how now, Hamlet?
How now, mother? Come here, sit down, for you shall hear me speak.
What wilt thou do? Thou wilt not murder me? How?
What ho! Help!
How now, a rat? Dead for a ducat. Dead.
Oh, I am slain.
Oh me, what hast thou done?
Nay, I know not. Is it the king?
Hamlet pulls Polonius' body from behind the arras.
Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool. Farewell. I took thee for thy better.
Hamlet, what hast thou done?
Not so much harm, good mother, as to kill a king and marry with his brother.
Oh, kill a king?
Aye, a king. Nay, sit you down, and ere you part, if you be made of penetrable stuff, I'll make your eyes look down into your heart and see how horrid there and black it shows.
Hamlet, what meanst thou by these killing words?
Why this, I mean. See here, behold this picture. It is the portraiture of your deceased husband. See here a face, to outface Mars himself. An eye, at which his foes did tremble at. A front wherein all virtues are set down for to adorn a king and gild his crown, whose heart went hand in hand even with that vow he made to you in marriage, and he is dead. Murdered, damnably murdered. This was your husband. Look you now, here is your husband, with a face like Vulcan, a look fit for murder and rape, a dull, dead, hanging look and a hell-bred eye to affright children and amaze the world. And this same have you left to change with this? Have you eyes? You cannot call it love, for at your age the heyday in the blood is tame. What devil thus hath cozened you at hoodman blind? Eyes without feeling, feeling without sight, ears without hands or eyes, smelling sans all, or but a sickly part of one true sense could not so mope. Oh, shame. Where is thy blush? Ah. You eyes, and can you look on him that slew my father, and your dear husband, to live in the incestuous pleasure of his bed?
Oh, Hamlet, speak no more.
Nay, but to live in the rank sweat of an enseamed bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love over the nasty sty.
Sweet Hamlet, cease.
My appetite with you is in the wane. Your blood runs backward now from whence it came. Who'll chide hot blood within a virgin's heart when lust shall dwell within a matron's breast?
Oh, Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain.
Oh, throw away the worser part of it and live the purer with the other half. Save me and hover over me with your wings, you heavenly guards. What would your gracious figure?
Alas, he's mad.
Do you not come your tardy son to chide, that I thus long have let revenge slip by? Oh, do not glare with looks so pitiful, lest that my heart of stone yield to compassion, and for every part that should assist revenge forego their proper powers and fall to pity.
Hamlet, I once again appear to thee, to put thee in remembrance of my death. Do not neglect, nor long time put it off, but look, amazement on your mother sits. Speak to her, Hamlet, for her sex is weak. Comfort thy mother, Hamlet, think on me.
How is it with you, my lady?
Alas, how is't with you that you do bend your eye on vacancy and hold discourse with nothing but air?
Why, do you nothing hear?
Not I.
Nor do you nothing see?
No, neither.
No. Why see the king my father? My father in the habit as he lived. Look you pale. Look you how pale he glares. Why, look you there. Look how it steals away. Look where he goes even now at the portal.
Alas, It is the weakness of thy brain which makes thy tongue to blaze in thy heart's grief, but as I have a soul, I swear by heaven, I never knew of this most horrid murder. But Hamlet, this is only fantasy, and for my love, forget these idle fits.
Idle? No, mother. My pulse doth beat like yours. It is not madness that possesseth Hamlet. Oh, mother, if ever you did my dear father love, forbear the adulterous bed tonight, and win yourself by little as you may. In time, it may be you will loathe him quite. And mother, but assist me in revenge, and in his death your infamy will die.
Hamlet, I vow by that majesty that knows our thoughts and looks into our hearts, I will conceal, consent, and do my best what stratagem soe'er thou shalt devise.
It is enough, mother. Good night. Come, sir. I'll provide for you a grave, who was in life a foolish prating knave.
And exit Hamlet with the dead body, the queen remains. Enter king with the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Now, Gertrude, what says our son? How do you find him?
Mad as the sea and wind when both contend, which is the mightier. I first bespake him fair, but then he throws and tosses me about as one forgetting that I was his mother. At last I called for help, and as I cried, Polonius called, which Hamlet no sooner heard, but whips out his rapier, cries, a rat, and in this brainish apprehension kills the unseen good old man.
By this, his madness will undo our state. Lords, go to him and inquire the body out.
We will, my lord.
Gertrude, your son shall presently to England. His shipping is already furnished, and we have sent by Rosencrantz and Guildenstern our letters to our dear brother of England for Hamlet's welfare and his happiness. Haply, the air and climate of the country may please him better than his native home. See where he comes. How now, what hath befallen?
Where the dead body is bestowed, my lord, we cannot get from him.
Now, Hamlet, where's Polonius?
At supper.
At supper where?
Not where he eats, but where he is eaten. A certain convocation of politic worms are eaten at him. Father, your fat king and your lean beggar is but variable service. 2 dishes, but to 1 table. Look you, a man may fish with that worm that hath eaten of a king, and a beggar eat that fish which that worm hath caught.
What dost thou mean by this?
Nothing, but to show you how a king may go a process through the guts of a beggar.
Where is Polonius?
In heaven. Send thither to see. If your messenger find him not there, you had best look at the other parts below for him. But if indeed you find him not within this month, you may chance to nose him as you go up the stairs into the lobby.
Make haste and find him out.
Nay, do you hear? Do not make too much haste. I'll warrant you he'll stay till you come.
Well, son Hamlet, we in care of you, but specially in tender preservation of your health, the which we price even as our proper self. It is our mind you forthwith go for England. The wind sits fair, you shall board tonight. Lord Rosencrantz and Guildenstern shall go along with you.
For England? Oh, with all my heart, farewell, dear mother.
Thy loving father, Hamlet.
My mother, I say. You married my mother. My mother is your wife. Man and wife is one flesh, and so my mother. Farewell. For England, ho.
Gertrude, leave me. And take your leave of Hamlet. To England is he gone, ne'er to return. Our letters are unto the King of England, that on the sight of them, on his allegiance, he presently, without demanding why, that Hamlet lose his head, for he must die. There's more in him than shallow eyes can see. He once being dead, why then our state is free.
Scene 4. Enter Fortinbras with army over the stage. Go, captain. From us greet the Danish king. Tell him that Fortinbras, nephew to old Norway, craves a free pass and conduct over his land, according to the articles agreed on. You know our rendezvous. Go, march away. Scene 5. Enter king and queen.
Hamlet is shipped for England. Fare him well. I hope to hear good news from thence ere long, if everything fall out to our content, as I do make no doubt, but so it shall.
God grant it may. Heavens keep my Hamlet safe, but this mischance of old Polonius's death hath pierced so the young Ophelia's heart that she, poor maid, is quite bereft her wits.
Alas, dear heart. And on the other side, we understand her brother's come from France. He hath half the heart of all our land, and hardly he'll forget his father's death, unless by some means he be pacified.
Oh, see where the young Ophelia is.
Enter Ophelia, distracted, playing on a lute, her hair down, singing.
How should I in your true love know from another man by his cockle hat and staff and his sandal shoon, while he shroud in the mountain snow, larded with sweet flowers, that bewept a grave did not go with true lovers' showers.
Alas, sweet lady, what imports this song?
Say you? Nay, pray, you mark. He is dead and gone, lady, he is dead and gone. At his head grass green turf, at his heels a stone.
How do you, pretty lady?
Well, God yield you. They say that the owl was a baker's daughter, Lord. We know what we are, but not what we may be, and it grieves me to see how they laid him in the cold ground. And he will not come again, and he will not come again. No, no, he is dead. Go to thy deathbed, he will never come again. And he is bent as white as snow, all flaxen with his pole. He is dead, he is gone. We may cast away a moan, oh God's mercy on his soul. And oh Christian soul, I pray God, God be with you, ladies, God be with you.
Pretty wench. This is a change indeed. Oh, time, how swiftly runs our joys away. Content on earth was never certain bread. Today we laugh and live, tomorrow dead. How now, what noise is that?
Stay there until I come. O thou vile king, give me my father. Speak, say, where's my father?
Dead.
How came he dead? I'll not be juggled with, for he is murdered.
True, but not by him.
By whom, by heaven, I'll be resolved.
Let him go, Gertrude. Away. I fear him not. There's such a divinity that wall a king, that treason dares not look on. Let him go, Gertrude. That your father is murdered is true, and we most sorry for it, being the chiefest pillar of our state. Therefore will you, like a most desperate gamester, swoop stake-like, draw at friend and foe and all?
None but his enemies.
Will you know them then?
To his good friends this wide I'll ope my arms and lock them in my heart, but to his foes I will no reconcilement but by blood.
Why now you speak like a good child and a true gentleman? And that in soul we sorrow for his death. Yourself ere long shall be a witness. Meanwhile, be patient and content yourself. Who's this, Ophelia? O Rose of May, dear maid, kind sister, sweet Ophelia. O heavens, is it possible a young maid's wit should be as mortal as an old man's life? Oh, heavens themselves. How now, Ophelia?
Well, God's a mercy. I've been gathering the flowers. There's rosemary, that's for remembrance. Pray you, love, remember. And there's pansies, that's for thoughts.
Document and madness, thoughts and remembrance fitted.
And there's fennel for you and columbines. There's rue for you and some for me. We'll call it an herb of grace, so Sundays you must wear your rue with difference. There's a daisy. I would give you some violets, but they were all withered then, when my father died. They say he made a good end. Sweet Robin, for bonny sweet Robin is my joy.
It's an afflictions. Passion, hell itself, she turns to favor and to prettiness.
Nay, love, I pray you make no words for this now. I pray you now you shall sing a down, and sing a down. 'Tis the king's daughter, and a false steward, if anybody ask you anything, this. All tomorrow is bedtime. I made you a window to be your valentine. The young man rose and donned his clothes and ducked his chamber door. Let in the maid, and out unmade, never departed more. By gifts and Saint Charity, alack and Saint Fame, young men will do as they come to, by cock or to blame, quoth she, before you tumbled me. You promised me to wed, so I had done you yonder, son, and thou hast come to bed. So God be with you all. God be with ye. Ladies, God be with you. Love.
Grief upon grief. My father murdered, my sister thus distracted. Cursed be his soul that wrought this wicked act.
Meant you, good Laertes, for a time. Although I know your griefs is as a flood, brimful of sorrow, but forbear a while and think already the revenge is done on him that makes you such a hapless son.
You have prevailed, my lord. A while I'll strive to bury grief within a tomb of wrath, which once unhearsed, then the world shall hear. Laertes had a father he held dear.
No more of that. Ere many days be done, you shall hear that you do not dream upon.
Scene 6, enter Horatio and Queen.
Madame, your son is safe arrived in Denmark. This letter I even now received of him, whereas he writes how he escaped the danger and settled treason that the king had plotted, being crossed by the contention of the wind. He found that the packet sent to the King of England, wherein he saw himself betrayed to death, as at his next conversion with your grace, he will relate the circumstance at full.
Then I perceive there's treason in his looks that seem to sugar o'er his villainy. But I will soothe and please him for a time, for murderous minds are always jealous. But know not you, Horatio, where he is?
Yes, madame, and he hath appointed me to meet him on the east side of the city tomorrow morning.
Oh, fail not, good Horatio, and withal commend me a mother's care to him. Bid him a while be wary of his presence, lest that he fail in that he goes about.
Madame, never make doubt of that. I think by this news he come to court. He is arrived. Observe the king, and you shall quickly find Hamlet being there. Things fell not to his mind.
But what became of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern?
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Hamlet being sent ashore, they went for England. And in the packet they writ down that doom to be performed on them pointed for him. And by great chance he had his father's seal.
Thanks be to heaven for blessing of the prince. Horatio, once again I take my leave with 1,000 mother's blessings to my son.
Madame, adieu.
Scene 7, enter King and Laertes.
Hamlet from England, is it possible? What chance is this? They are gone and he come home?
Oh, he is welcome, by my soul he is. At it, my jocund heart doth leap for joy, that I shall live to tell him, thus he dies.
Laertes, content yourself, be ruled by me, and you shall have no let for your revenge.
Aye, my lord. So you will not o'errule me to a peace?
Laertes, mark the plot I have laid. I have heard him often with a greedy wish on some praise that he hath heard of you, touching your weapon, which with all his heart he might be once tasked for to try your cunning.
And how for this?
It is thus. I'll lay a wager, shall be on Hamlet's side, and you shall give the odds that which will draw him with a more desire to try the mystery, that in 12 passes you gain not 3 of them. Now this being granted, when you are hot in midst of all your play, among the foils shall a keen rapier lie, steeped in a mixture of deadly poison, that if it draws but the least dram of blood in any part of him, he cannot live. This being done will free you from suspicion, and not the dearest friend that Hamlet loved will ever have Laertes in suspect, and call it an accident.
My lord, I like it well. But say Lord Hamlet should refuse this match.
So will put on you such a report of singularity will bring him on, although against his will, and lest that all should miss. And lest that all should miss, I'll have a potion that shall ready stand. In all his heat, when that he calls for a drink, shall be his period and our happiness.
Oh, 'tis excellent. Oh, would the time were come. Oh, here comes the queen.
One woe doth tread upon another's heel. See, so fast they follow you. Your sister's drowned, Laertes.
Drowned? Where?
There is a willow grows askant the brook that shows his hoar leaves in the glassy stream. There with fantastic garlands did she make of crow flowers, nettles, daisies, and long purples that liberal shepherds give a grosser name, but our cold maids do dead men's fingers call them. There on the pendant boughs her coronet weeds, clamoring to hang, an envious silver broke, when down her weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook. Her clothes spread wide and mermaid-like a while, they bore her up, which time she chanted snatches of old lauds as one incapable of her own distress, or like a creature native and endued into that element. But long it could not be till that her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death.
Alas, then, she is drowned.
Drowned!
Too much of water hast thou, poor Ophelia, and therefore I forbid my tears. But yet it is her trick. Nature her custom holds. Let shame say what it will. When these are gone, the woman will be out. Adieu, my lord. I have a speech of fire that fain would blaze, but that this folly drowns it.
Let's follow, Gertrude. How much I had to do to calm his rage. Now fear I this will give it start again. Therefore, let's follow.
Act 5, Scene 1. Enter Gravedigger and another. I say no, she ought not to be buried in Christian burial.
Why, sir?
Marry, because she's drowned.
But she did not drown herself.
Now, I deny that. But look you, sir, I stand here. If the water come to me, I drown not myself. But if I go to the water and am there drowned, ergo, I am guilty of my own death. You're gone. Go, you're gone, sir.
Will you have a truth on it? If this had not been a gentlewoman, she should have been buried out of a Christian burial.
Why, there thou sayest, and the more pity that great folk should have countenance in this world to drown or hang themselves more than other people. Go fetch me a stoup of drink. But before thou goest, tell me one thing. Who builds strongest, of a mason, shipwright, or a carpenter?
Why, mason, for he builds all of stone and will endure long.
Oh, that's pretty. Try again. Do it again. Do it again.
Who builds strongest? A mason, a shipwright, or a carpenter?
Aye, tell me that and unyoke.
Why, then a carpenter, for he builds the gallows, and that brings many a one to his long home.
Oh, pretty again. The gallows doth well. Marry, how does it well? The gallows does well to them that do ill. Go, get thee gone. And if anyone ask thee hereafter, say a grave maker. The house he makes lasts till doomsday. Go, get thee in, and fetch me a stoup of liquor. A pickaxe and a spade for a shrouding treat. For most fit it is, for 'twill be made for such a guest most meet.
Has this fellow no feeling of his business? That is thus merry in the making of a grave? See how the knave jowls their heads against the earth?
My lord, custom hath made it in him seem nothing.
But age with his stealing steps hath clawed me in his clutch, and hath shipped me into the land as if I'd never been such.
Look you, there's another Horatio. Why, may not that be the skull of some lawyer? Methinks he should indict that fellow for an action of battery, for knocking him about the pate with a shovel. Now, where is your quirks and quillets now, your vouchers and double vouchers, your leases and freehold and tenements? Why, that same box will scarce hold the conveyance of his land, and must the honor lie there? A pitiful transformance. I prithee tell me, Horatio, is not parchment made of sheepskins?
Aye, my lord, and of calfskins too.
They are sheep and calves which seek out assurance in that. I will speak to this fellow. Whose grave is this, sirrah?
Mine, sir.
But who must lie in it?
If I should say I should lie in my throat.
What man dost thou dig it for?
No man, sir.
What woman then?
For none neither.
Who is to be buried in it?
Oh, one that was a woman, sir, but rest her soul, she's dead.
How absolute the knave is! We must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. By the Lord, Horatio, this 3 years I have took note of it. The age is grown so picked that the toe of the peasant comes so near the heel of the courtier, he galls his kide. I prithee tell me one thing. How long will a man lie in the earth here, he rot?
Faith, if he be not rotten before he die, as we have many pocky corpses nowadays that will scarce hold the laying in, he will last you some a year or 9 year. A tanner will last you 9 year.
Why he more than another?
Why, sir, his hide is so tanned with his trade that he will hold out water. That's a parlous devourer of your dead body, a great soaker. Oh, look you, here's a skull hath been here 23 years. Let me see, ever since our last King Hamlet slew Fortinbras in combat. Young Hamlet's father, he that's mad and sent into England.
Aye. Mary, how came he mad?
Very strangely, they say.
How strangely?
Faith, in with the losing of his wits.
Upon what ground?
Why, here in Denmark.
Where is he now?
Well, now they send him to England.
To England? Wherefore?
Why, they say he shall have his wits there, or if he have not, 'tis no great matter there. It will not be seen there.
Whose skull was this?
Oh, a whoreson's mad fellow it was. A pestilence on him for a mad rogue. He poured a flagon of Rhenish on my head once. The same skull, sir, was Sir Yorick's skull, the king's jester.
This?
Seen that?
Let me see. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times. And now how abhorred in my imagination it is. My gorge rises at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed, I know not how oft. Where be your jibes now, your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar? Not one now to mock your own grinning? Quite chapfallen? Now get you to my lady's chamber and tell her, let her paint an inch thick to this favor she must come. Make her laugh at that. Prithee, Horatio, tell me one thing.
What's that, my lord?
Dost thou think Alexander looked thus?
Even so,
And smelt so?
aye, my lord, no otherwise.
To what base uses we may return, Horatio? Why, may not imagination work as thus of Alexander? Alexander died. Alexander was buried. Alexander became earth. Of earth we make clay. And Alexander being but clay, why might not time bring to pass that he might stop the bunghole of a beer barrel? Imperious Caesar, dead and turned to clay, might stop a hole to keep the wind away.
And to the king, queen, Laertes, the corpse of Ophelia with a doctor of divinity.
What funeral is this that all the court laments? It shows to be some noble parentage. Stand by a while.
What ceremony else?
That is Laertes, a very noble youth, mark.
What ceremony else?
You're muted. Ralph, you're muted.
My lord, we have done all that lies in us and more than well the church can tolerate. She has had a dirge sung for her maiden soul, and but for the favor of the king and you, she had been buried in the open fields, where now she is allowed Christian burial.
So I tell thee, churlish priest, a ministering angel shall my sister be when thou liest howling.
What? The fair Ophelia?
Sweets to the sweet, farewell. I hoped thou shouldst have been my Hamlet's wife. I thought thy bride bed to have decked, sweet maid, and not have strewed thy grave.
Treble woe, all 10 times treble on that cursed head whose wicked deeds thy most ingenious sense deprive thee of. Hold off the earth a while, till I have caught her once more in mine arms. Now pile your dust upon the quick and dead, to this flat of a mountain you have made to o'ertop old Pelion over skyish head of blue Olympus.
Hamlet leaps into the grave with him.
What's he that conjures so?
Behold, 'tis I, Hamlet the Dane.
Devil take thy son.
Thou prayest not well. I prithee take thy fingers from my throat. There is something in me dangerous, which let thy wisdom fear. Hold off thy hand.
Pluck them asunder.
Hamlet, Hamlet.
Gentlemen,
Good my lord, be quiet.
Hamlet and Laertes are separated.
I loved Ophelia as dear as 20 brothers could. Show me what thou wilt do for her.
oh, he is mad, Laertes.
For the love of God, forbear him.
Wounds, show me what thou do. Wilt weep, wilt fight, wilt fast, wilt tear thyself? Wilt drink up vessels, eat a crocodile? I'll do it. Dost thou come here to whine? To outface me with leaping in her grave? Be buried quick with her, and so will I. And if thou prate of mountains, let them throw millions of acres on us, till our ground, singeing his pate against the burning zone, make Assa like a wart.
Forbear, Laertes. Now is he mad, as is the sea, anon as mild and gentle as a dove. Therefore a while give his wild humor scope.
What is the reason that you wrong me thus? I never gave you cause. But stand away. The cat will mew, and dog will have his day.
I pray thee, good Horatio, wait upon him.
Alas, it is his madness makes him thus, and not his heart, Laertes.
My lord, the so. but will no longer trifle. This very day shall Hamlet drink his last. For presently we mean to send him, therefore, Laertes, be in readiness.
My lord, till then my soul will not be quiet.
Come, Gertrude, we'll have Laertes and our son made friends and lovers, as befits them both, even as they tender us and love their country.
God grant they may.
Scene 2, enter Hamlet and Horatio.
Believe me, it grieves me much, Horatio, that to Laertes I forgot myself. For by the image of my cause I see the portraiture of his. I'll court his favors. But sure, the bravery of his grief did put me into a towering passion.
Peace. Who comes here?
Dost know this waterfly?
Court knows him, but he knows not the court.
Now God save thee, sweet Prince Hamlet.
And you, sir? Foe, how the moss cod smells.
I should impart a thing to you from his majesty.
I will receive it, sir, with all diligence of spirit. By my troth, methinks 'tis very cold.
It is indeed very rawish cold.
But yet methinks it is very sultry and hot for my complexion.
Exceedingly, my lord. It is very sultry, as 'twere, I cannot tell how. My lord, his majesty bade me signify to you that he has laid a great wager on your side. 6 Barbary horses, against the which he has impawned, as I take it, 6 French rapiers and poniards, with their signs as girdles, hangers, and so. 3 of the carriages, in faith, are very dear to fancy, very responsive to the hilts, most delicate carriages, and of very liberal conceit.
What call you the carriages?
The carriages, sir, are the hangers.
The phrase would be more germane to the matter if we could carry a cannon by our sides. And how's the wager? I understand you now.
The king, sir, hath laid, sir, that in a dozen passes between you and Laertes, he shall not exceed you 3 hits. He hath laid on 12 for 9, and it would come to immediate trial if your lordship would vouchsafe the answer.
Very well. If the king dare venture his wager, I dare venture my skull. When must this be?
My lord, presently. The king and my lord, presently. The king and her majesty, with the rest of the best judgment of the court, are coming down into the Elmwood Palace.
Go tell his majesty I will attend him.
Shall I deliver you in so?
To this effect, sir, after what flourish your nature will.
I shall deliver your most sweet answer.
You may, sir. None better, for y'are spiced. Else he had a bad nose, could not smell a fool.
He will disclose himself without inquiry.
Believe me, Horatio, my heart is of the sudden very sore. All hereabout.
Your mind is like anything, obey it. I will forestall the repair hither, and say you are not fit.
Not a whit. We defy augury. There is a special providence in the fall of a sparrow. If it be now, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. The readiness is all. Since no man of aught he leaves knows, what is it to leave betimes? Let be.
The table is prepared. Enter King, Queen, Osric with all the state, foils, daggers, flagons of wine, and Laertes.
Come, Hamlet. Come and take his hand from me.
Give me your pardon, sir. I've done you wrong. But pardon it, as you are a gentleman. This presence knows, and you must needs have heard, how I am punished with a sore distraction. What I have done that might your nature, honor and exception roughly awake, I here proclaim was madness. If Hamlet in his madness did amiss, That was not Hamlet, but his madness did it. And all the wrong I e'er did to Laertes, I here proclaim was madness. Therefore, let's be at peace. And think I have shot mine arrow over the house and hurt my brother.
Sir, I am satisfied in nature, but in my terms of honor I stand aloof, and will no reconcilement till by some elder masters of known honor I may be satisfied.
Give us the foils. Come on.
Come, one for me.
I'll be your foil, Laertes. These foils have all a length.
Aye, my good lord.
They play.
1.
No.
Judgment.
It's a very palpable hit.
Well,
Hey,
again.
give me drink. Hamlet, this pearl is thine. Here's to thy health.
He drinks and then drops the pearl in the cup.
Give him the cup.
I'll play this bout first. Set it by a while. Come.
They play.
Another hit. What say you?
A touch, I do confess it.
Our son shall win.
He's fat and scant of breath. Here, Hamlet, take my napkin, rub thy brows. The queen carouses to thy fortune, Hamlet.
She lifts the cup.
Gertrude did not drink.
Good madam.
I will, my lord, I pray you, pardon me.
She drinks.
It is the poisoned cup. It is too late.
I dare not drink yet, madam. By and by.
Come, let me wipe thy face.
Lord, I'll hit him now.
I do not think it.
Yet it is almost against my conscience.
Come for the third, Laertes. You do but dally. I pray you pass with your best violence. I am afeard you make a wanton of me.
Well, say you so. Come on.
They play.
Nothing either way.
Have at you now.
Laertes wounds Hamlet. Then in scuffling, they change rapiers, and Hamlet wounds Laertes.
Hark them, they are incensed.
Hey, come again.
Look,
The
to
queen
there.
falls.
Ho!
They bleed on both sides. How is it, my lord?
How is it, Laertes?
Why, as a woodcock to my own spring, Osric. I am
He
justly
falls.
killed with mine own treachery.
How does the queen?
Wounds to see them bleed.
No, the drink. Oh, my dear Hamlet, the drink. I am poisoned.
She
Oh,
dies.
Vinley. Oh, let the door be locked. Treachery, seek it out.
It is here, Hamlet. Hamlet, thou art slain. No medicine in the world can do thee good. In thee there's not a half hour's life. The treacherous instrument is in thy hand, unbaited and envenomed. The foul practice hath turned itself on me. Lo, here I lie, never to rise again. My mother's poisoned. I can do no more. The king's to blame.
The point in venom too? Then venom to thy work.
Hamlet hurts the king. Treason, treason!
Oh, yet defend me, friends. I am but hurt.
Ah, here, thou incestuous, murderous damned Dane, drink off this potion. Is thy union here?
Hamlet forces him to drink the poison.
Follow my mother.
The king dies.
He is justly served. It is a poison tempered by himself. Exchange forgiveness with me, noble Hamlet. Mine and my father's death come not upon thee, nor thine on me.
Laertes dies.
Heaven make free of it. I follow thee. I am dead, Horatio. Wretched queen, adieu. You that look pale and tremble at this chance, that are but mutes or audience to this act. Had I but time, as this fell sergeant Death is strict in his arrest. Oh, I could tell you, but let it be. Horatio, I am dead. Thou livest. Report me and my cause aright to the unsatisfied.
Never believe it. I am more an antique Roman than a Dane. Here's yet some liquor left.
Horatio picks up the cup.
As thou'rt a man, give me the cup. Let go, by heaven, I'll have it. What a scandal wouldst thou leave behind? What tongue should tell the story of our deaths, if not from thee? Oh, my heart sinks, Horatio. Mine eyes have lost their sight. My tongue his use. Farewell, Horatio. Heaven receive my soul. Oh. Oh. Oh.
He dies.
Now cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
A march within. Enter Fortinbras with the English ambassadors with drum, color, and attendants. Where is this bloody sight?
What is it you would see? If aught of woe and wonder, cease your search.
Oh, imperious death! How many princes hast thou at one draught bloodily shot to death?
Sight is dismal. Our embassy that we have brought from England. Where be these princes that should hear us speak? O most unlooked for time, unhappy country.
Content yourselves, I'll show to all the ground. The first beginning of this tragedy. Let there be a scaffold be reared up in the marketplace, and let the state of the world be there. Where you shall hear such a sad story told, that never mortal man could more unfold.
I have some rights of memory in this kingdom, which now to claim my vantage doth invite me. Let 4 of our chiefest captains bear Hamlet like a soldier to his grave, for he was likely, had he lived, to prove most royal. Take up the bodies. Such a sight as this becomes the field, but here shows much amiss. They exit. End of play.